Here is a Christmas time story that will warm the cockles of your heart. The cockles of your heart are the ventricles. They're called cockles because their Latin name is the cochleae cordis, which means snail also, because they look like a snail. Anyway, here's the story. Back when I was in first grade in Columbus, Indiana, I had a sworn mortal enemy in my first grade class. He was a young boy who was a terror. He was a bully, and I was one of those who he focused his bullying behavior upon. I remember one day I was sitting there innocently enough, and he comes over and grabs my eraser, and it wasn't just any eraser. It was the best eraser I've ever owned in my entire life. It was my favorite eraser on the face of this earth. And that little boy took my eraser and he flung it across the room, and I never saw it again. But there was one place of safety that I had from all the things of this world, and that was the Columbus, Indiana Free Methodist Church. And when I was at church, I was at home. It was my comfort zone. But one day, one Sunday morning, as I was walking down the hallway of the Columbus, Indiana Free Methodist Church, into the church came my mortal enemy with a few members of his family. And as soon as he saw me, he greeted me. He greeted me with that name that I disdained, because he had a nickname he'd given me based on the fact that as a child I had very dry lips. He called me Chaplip. And he said, "Hey, there, Chaplip. Hey, Chaplip, how you doing, Chaplip?" And I was like, ugh. And in that moment, as a child, I understood what it felt like to want to actually murder somebody in church. As a kid, I was a kid. I wouldn't have really done it, but I felt murder in my heart because this guy was my sworn enemy. But alas, one day, there at the church, he walks up to me and hands me a Christmas present, and it warmed my heart. I was surprised. I thought, oh, really? And as I opened it up, it was a little Lego game set that was just perfect. I loved it. And I went up to my mom and said, "I can't believe it. I thought he was my enemy, but he gave me a Christmas present. Here it is." And she looked at it and said, "Is that the gift wrap that came in?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Greg, he took that from the gifts that we had for the underprivileged children's Christmas party that we do every year. It was a charity gift for kids who were in need. He gave me the gift. I opened it." My Christmas story that hopefully warmed the cockles of your heart. My blessing for you today is that as you interact with the Father, may He indeed warm your spirit. Maybe He'll bless you with a special memory, a special encounter, but may you have the blessing of the Father warming your spirit as you celebrate Christmastide. And there you go, a blessing for you. And may it be so in the name of Jesus.